Hi everybody, Russ on the WESTHAM Network. Hope you are all safe and well, my friends. If you're new and give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a bloody good subscribe. Why not? And hit that bell notification button. So, who's buzzing? Who's buzzing for Seville? One person who is buzzing for Seville because he's joining me today instead of being in Seville. He hasn't overcome it just yet. He's still really pissed off, but we'll bring him in anyway. Mr. Anton. Seville looks really similar to your house, to be honest.
Yeah, it does, mate. It does. Yeah, but listen, onwards and upwards. Let's just move on from that. If anyone wants to give me any form of sympathy, you can play that little small violin. Anyway, just due to unforeseen circumstances, I am now obviously not in Seville, and I'm absolutely devastated, but it's not about me, and it's about West Ham. And as long as we walk away with that victory and we face our biggest test, Russ, our biggest test so far, under David Moyes, when we travel to Seville to take on Sevilla tomorrow night, mate. How are you feeling about it?
I'm buzzing. And do you know what? And I know you and me spoken before we started, and obviously everyone's out there, and everyone, safe travels. Everyone who still hasn't made their way out there yet. But if you're going, and yeah, it's annoying because you'd love to be out there, but I'm buzzing for the guys who are out there because particularly, I mean, I'm not an away fan. I don't go to many away games at all. But for the guys who are constantly going to the away games and getting up at 4:00 in the morning to go to Kidderminster and stuff like that, it's nice to have a bit of sunshine on their backs for once. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing for them because it's going to be an incredible day, incredible evening rather. So yes,
and you could also say it's it's not just against any normal opposition. It's Europa League royalty.
Yeah,
really, very much Sevilla as well.
Very much.
And listen, I mean, I've been there. I've been there on holiday, and I must admit, the city is absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful city. And yeah, I am a bit devastated I've not gone and I can't go. But anyway, we'll move on from that again because it's the second time we've mentioned it in 3 minutes.
But we've bought a little bit of Seville, a little bit of Sevilla to the West Ham Network with our guest today, haven't we?
We absolutely have, mate. Is it time to talk the opposition?
It's time to talk. I'm on the wheels today, so I'm doing it. It's time to talk the opposition. And we have Daniel down here. Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Hello. Hey, guys. I'm not too bad. How are you doing?
We're very well. You don't sound very Spanish, I'll give you that. But Daniel runs, this is exclusive for the West Ham Network. Daniel runs the social media channels for the official Sevilla English social media team, isn't it, basically?
Mm. Yeah. So Twitter. So we've got our native accounts, just in English on Twitter and Facebook. And then we offer a helping hand on other platforms like TikTok and Instagram to bring Sevilla to a more international and English-speaking audience.
Fantastic, fantastic. So,
Wow.
what what do we know? What do we need to know about tomorrow's opponents, really? Because obviously we've been looking. Obviously, we know we can look on the match reports. We know some of the players already. But how's the season going for Sevilla at the moment, from your perspective, from an insider's perspective?
So I think the season has certainly been a success for the team. We're second in the league. We won our last La Liga title in 1946. So yeah, for us to be in second is definitely a magnificent campaign in the league. That we are in the Europa League means that we had a slip up in the Champions League. That was quite a disappointment for us because we had a group that perhaps objectively, was probably one of the weaker ones. But this is what's happened. We finished third. We went into the Europa League, a competition that the club absolutely adore. As you rightfully mentioned, some Europa League royalty. We've won it 6 times, and everyone will be going full out to win it the 7th time because this year the final is being played in our very own stadium in the Sancho
Yeah,
Pizjuan.
it's
So
amazing.
as if this club needed any more motivation to win it, the chance to play a final in the stadium would be superb. So yeah, very, very strong in the league this year. And let's see what happens in the Europa League.
It's just
Exactly.
it's amazing, really, when you think about, the reputation that you've built in the UEFA Cup stroke Europa League over the years. And like you said, you're trying to make that kind of step into the Champions League. But when you haven't made that step into the Champions League, you've absolutely, taken the Europa League to your hearts and have absolutely, made it your own, made it really your own competition. And it is fantastic to watch, and it's a great game for West Ham fans and West Ham to be involved in. For us, it's moving us in to the next stage and the next
Yeah.
step. How though, Daniel, is your league form? From what we see how you're performing in the league. How does that transpire into the Europa League, and does that have a kind of knock-on effect of how you're playing in cup competitions, etc.?
I would say, obviously, so as I mentioned, it's been a very, very, very long time since we last won the league. So at the club, certainly pushing for first place in La Liga is a number one objective. But given our history and our really love affair with the Europa League, we certainly will not be resting on our laurels. So I don't think there should be any negative effects to our play in Europe in terms of maybe fatigue from the league. One thing I will say, we're coming into the game with quite some injuries. The squad was just announced today. Martial is in it, which was a surprise. He
Yep.
was a surprise, but we're missing players like Diego Carlos, a vital centre back, Rakic, our third centre back, Montiel, a very trusty right back, and a host of other names, Thomas Delaney as well, Fernando, our main defensive midfielder. So we're coming, yeah, well, there you go there. So yeah, we're coming into the game without any defensive midfielders because
Yeah.
given our central defense, our centre back situation, we're going to have to play Goodell in centre back. That's what he's been doing recently alongside Jules Koundé.
Yeah, and
So we're
his
coming into the match with injuries that we'd ideally not be having.
Yeah, and Goodell, he's a sort of defensive midfielder, really, isn't he? He's doing a reverse role of what Declan Rice used to. He was a centre back moving to a CDM role, and then he's a CDM moving back into a. He played that position in the last game against Alaves, wasn't it? Away, if I'm right.
Yeah, well, the past few games, because Diego Carlos and Rekic have been out for about 3, 4 games now. Diego Carlos managed to heroically play 45 minutes in the derby just to pull us through, but after that, he's been gone ever since. So I think he was playing beyond the limit there. So yeah, no, the past few games we've been playing with a centre midfielder and centre back, which isn't ideal, certainly given the aerial prowess of West Ham. Whenever you've got players like Craig Dawson, Kurt Zuma, you've got some big boys that ideally we'd want Diego Carlos dealing with, but
Yeah.
we'll see what Goodell can do tomorrow. He's a very trusty centre back, and no way, is it to speak negatively of his talent. Just, it's at the end of the day, he is playing out of position.
And also, I was
Now,
looking in the.
you
So I
go
was
for
about to
it.
say, looking in the squad that's been announced, there was a lot of. Because obviously, I had to try and find the images, and obviously, a lot of the players, some of the players towards the sort of the end of the squad. Am I right thinking they were not necessarily in the first team, so to speak? I was thinking guys like, oh, I'm going to murder it, but is it Louise me, and people like that? Were they? Because it seems like a lot of players weren't necessarily in the first squad pictures, if that makes sense. They were in different kits and things like that.
No, you're absolutely correct with that. The last maybe from about Luis Me below, we're talking about youth players.
Yeah,
Things have actually got better in January with the AFCON and COVID, with the outbreak of Omicron at the time. We coupled that alongside injuries, and we were playing some games with 10, 11, 12 players out because the La Liga wasn't as generous as
wow.
the Premier League in terms of postponing games. So that was a very difficult time for the club. We were kind of hoping that after the international break, we'd have some time to rest up and let the injured players get back to fitness, but some of them have had relapses of injury. So the club's going through a difficult moment in terms of injury. So I think for any West Ham fans out there, you could maybe, pull along that line of hope that we're going into it with not our ideal starting first 11, but certainly a very strong team nonetheless, with some, players with proper European pedigree. If you look at
Definitely.
that list
And I,
there, players like Rakitic, for example.
Yeah.
and I think I was even going to mention that, how does a team like Sevilla cope with a long list of injuries and squad depth, and how does that affect your club? And when you look at West Ham, because we don't have a big squad, that if we were having, and when we do have knocks, we feel the impact in the team. But as you can see from the squad that you're announcing and from the comments that you've made, there's enough in the engine to keep progressing forward as much as you can. It's not ideal, and if there is a time to play a club like yourselves, this could be the time. But that also can play, being devil's advocate can be that there's an opportunity for these players to step up
Yeah,
and
definitely.
and show the boss, like, listen, you know what, I can come into this team and perform for you guys. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, listen, we know there's been players that West Ham have been linked to, Daniel, in Esri for a while. Moyes has had a keen interest in players like him. What's
Yeah.
the kind of thoughts on how he's playing this season, and really who's the players we should really keep an eye on, the main kind of threats coming from you guys for tomorrow night?
Yeah, so it's been a difficult season for Yusuf En-Nesyri. Last season, he was our talisman, really, which I'm sure that's why he caught Moyes' eye. I think 18 goals in all competitions. With Sevilla, we aren't a team that scores too many goals. We have the joint best. Sorry, we have the joint best. In terms of clean sheets or goals conceded, we're joint best in Europe with Man City. So we're very, very solid. We like our 1-0 wins. So we're not a side that scores a lot of goals. So last season in a series was absolutely vital for us. If it wasn't for his goals, I think at one point of the season, he might have ended the season with this honour, but he was the player whose goals had won most points in the league. So he was
Wow.
usually in those 1-0s,
Wow.
he was usually the player scoring that goal. This season has been a disappointment for him. He started the season with a goal against Rayo Vallecano, but he's been injured quite a bit. He was injured for about 3 months or so, and then he went off to the AFCON with Morocco. He's just coming back, but I think watching his game, I think you can see that it's a player who's just off a 3-month muscular injury, still trying to get his confidence and the rhythm that we saw last year. So I wouldn't say En-Nesyri is in his best form at the moment, but this could be the game that he would come into it.
I was going to bring that up because, West Ham's previous history under before Moyes would be that this is a sort of game that a player like that would be looking for, because they would tend to pop up and score a goal and bang, that's their career being restarted and rejigged again. But, other players you brought in here, sorry, Russ, for taking over, has come into the club. He's got a lot of Premier League experience. He's got a lot of experience playing against West Ham. How's he been? And obviously, like you said, it was a surprise inclusion into the squad.
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you think he'll make tomorrow?
So Martial, obviously, there's been a lot of fanfare about his arrival. Sevilla fans were, delighted for a club like us, although we do have quite a number of European titles. For us to get a player from Manchester United was quite a coup, and he definitely came in with a lot of excitement and expectation out on the pitch. He's got one goal so far. He's been injured for the past two or three matches. He's got one goal. He scored against Dinamo Zagreb. There was an absolutely crazy celebration whenever that went in. Everyone was really willing him to get a goal. But he's been playing left wing. Obviously at United, he favoured the striker position, but he's been playing left wing quite regularly. And yeah, I think he's getting, he gets down the wing, he cuts inside, but we haven't seen a ton of goals from him yet. But I hear from West Ham fans that apparently he enjoys a goal against you. So
always scores against us. Always scores against us.
He's joined that long list of players that do like scoring goals against West Ham. Definitely.
Yeah, I think he sort of filled a lot of fans with dread seeing that he'd made the squad for the game tomorrow, because I thought, oh, for God's sake, different shirt, but it will still be the same, whether it's a Man United shirt or Sevilla shirt. He's still going to end up, he's always going to be one of those players, unfortunately. But I mean, as you said, it's. I mean, the last game obviously it was a 0-0 away draw against Alaves. Obviously there a number of players were playing as well, and obviously people like Delaney. Obviously he can't be suspended for tomorrow, isn't he? But we're back in the squad for next week as well. But in terms of, by all accounts, looking through it, as you said, you don't concede a lot, but you don't score a lot. It's the 1-0 to the 1-0, not the 1-0 to the Arsenal, 1 to Sevilla. But I mean, in terms of, you're second at the moment, reasonably comfortable in second. Just in terms of La Liga, chances of taking the top spot, as you said, it's been so long since a title. How do you think? I mean, Real Madrid look like they're going to be out of the Champions League tonight, they're going to be out of the Champions League tonight, so they've got nothing to play for in Europe then. It's surely Europa League is a distraction for them. Surely they just want to just carry on and start pick up some more points in La Liga to pressure Real Madrid. Surely, Daniel.
I think, it's a very, very fair argument, but going back to what I said earlier, I think the respect that this team has for this competition. Just two nights ago, Jose Castro gave a speech at the club's postponed Christmas dinner, and he made specific reference to the Europa League. He mentioned, obviously, what it means for the club. He mentioned that the final is played in our stadium. So I think as much as we want to break that league duct, I just don't see Sevilla relenting in this competition. We absolutely adore it. If he had spoken to some Sevilla fans during the Champions League group stage, you would have found the odd one who would have said, I'd rather drop out of the Champions League and go into the Europa League, because obviously, living in the UK and Ireland, the Europa League is kind of looked upon as some kind of inconvenience, perhaps for the major clubs in the Premier League who sometimes drop into it if they don't have the best season and go into the Champions League. But you'll not find that here at Sevilla. We've won it 6 times and we want to win it a 7th time in our stadium.
Well, we beat Man City's hoodoo with the Carabao Cup this year, so anything's possible now, Daniel, isn't it? 5 years they won it, not as much as you guys. 5 years, but yeah.
I mean, listen, there's no kind of history between the two clubs. No. They've never played each other. What do you think Sevilla have to do to beat West Ham? What due diligence do you think they've done, and who's the player do you think that offers the biggest threat to Sevilla in tomorrow night's game? I know it's a triple-barreled question for you there, Daniel.
Triple-barreled question.
So I think, our priority will be on keeping our defence as solid as possible, as we very usually do. I think we'll certainly at come full time, we'll definitely want to see a 0 in front of West Ham score. In terms of difficulties, I think perhaps that I spoke about earlier, the aerial prowess of West Ham. In the last few days over in social media, I've seen a lot of Craig Dawson meme accounts appearing in the comments. And yeah, just as I was mentioning, obviously we're without our Diego Carlos, who's our real warrior in defence. Jules Koundé is, in my opinion, one of the best centre-backs in world football, but it's true that he perhaps doesn't have the height advantage that other centre-backs would have. So I think that could potentially be an area that Moyes could look to exploit, because in open play, there's not a lot to exploit in this Sevilla team. Perhaps lacking a defensive midfielder, if there's a player who could drop in and around that number 10 position, that kind of space. I'm not sure who'll play defensive midfield tomorrow. I would guess perhaps Juan Jordan, who's usually a box to box kind of number 8. So whoever plays tomorrow in the defensive midfield will not be a regular at the role. So perhaps if West Ham utilise that space well, the kind of number 10 space in just outside the box, just in front of the centre backs, and then focus on aerial, on set pieces and stuff like that, I think that could perhaps be what Moyes will be looking at. I think of the very
Anton,
few weaknesses.
Do you just want to clip this and just send it to David Moyes just so it's sorted?
Sorted, done. But there's one, there's one player in particular I want to bring to your attention. You may know about, you may not know about, etc. Is Antonio, and the reason why I'm bringing him to your attention is, he's had a kind of topsy-turvy season. He's had a fantastic start to the season. He's kind of retracted a lot in his performances, and over the last couple of games he's picked up again. But what we do know about him is how you just don't know what he's going to do. You really, he doesn't know what he's going to do.
No.
We don't know what he's going to do. And the one thing we were all excited about was seeing someone like Antonio in Europe, because he can be so unpredictable and he can cause defenses a lot of problems. How do you deal with an unpredictable striker that you've never really came across before? As Sevilla, because I can only imagine that the manager would all be looking into him and seeing what, how are we going to manage a player like him?
So I think, with Antonio, as you mentioned, the ability that Antonio can have, I think Jules Koundé will be the player put in charge of watching him. And Koundé reads the game excellently. He's a very, very smart, wily defender, despite his young age. So I think he'll be in charge of tracking those runs in behind. But I think that rather than deal with the problem of Antonio getting in behind, having shots on goal, I think what Lopetegui will be mainly focusing on is cutting out the service to him. So I'm sure that we'll be strong and aggressive in the midfield to stop that supply to him. But in the case that, West Ham do break the lines, they do get the opportunity to thread it to Antonio, I think Koundé, will be the man chosen to mark him. And I believe that Koundé certainly has the ability to take him on. Whether Antonio comes up with a bit of magic, who knows? But I think
his magic
will be in charge of it.
But you spoke about Jules Koundé, and obviously there was loads of speculation over the January transfer window of him going, coming to the Premier League and stuff like that. What makes him such a? You said, you said he's probably one of the best central defenders in Europe at the moment. Why is he so good in your opinion? Because you see him all the time.
I think just his intelligence, his reading of the game. As I mentioned, he's not the tallest centre back in the world. He's not small by any means, but in terms of a Craig Dawson or a Diego Carlos, he's not going to be level on height with them. So I think he has to use more of his intelligence. He's cutting out those balls in terms of how, obviously Diego Carlos is out tomorrow, in terms of how Sevilla centre-back partnership normally would work. You would have Diego Carlos as the more physical one, kind of pushing forward, winning those headers, those 50-50s, and then you would have Jules just covering in behind. Another facet that I absolutely love to Koundé's game is that he's spectacular on the ball. Against Alaves, he ended the game almost as a right winger. I'm not too sure whether that'll be possible tomorrow, because that's really facilitated by Diego Carlos and Fernando in the defensive midfield. Usually Fernando will drop deep to fill in for Koundé pushing up. So given their two absences, and that is a European game, I assume we'll be a little bit more cautious.
Sure.
Perhaps we won't see that side to Koundé, but in terms of his defence, I think it's just his expert reading of the game. Very, very rarely would an attacker get past him. And then if anyone does get past him, then you have our magnificent keeper, Bono, who we haven't spoken about yet.
We haven't spoken about Bono, yeah.
One of the best keepers around, in my opinion.
He's, I think a few people in the chat thought he was in the halftime entertainment. That was why people got a little bit confused. But as you said, Bono, he's been exceptional, hasn't he, really?
Absolutely incredible. La Liga, you have top goalkeepers like Courtois, Oblak, Ter Stegen. So he kind of goes under the radar. But if you look at his stats like save percentages, he's literally amongst the best in the world. He's got the most clean sheets in La Liga this season. And he's simply superb. He's got a wonderful story because we just signed him as a second choice goalkeeper. The first choice keeper at the time was Vaclik, and he just did, what a normal second choice keeper does. Cup games, the odd appearance, whatnot, not really shining or anything. And then Vaclik got injured just before. This was our 6th Europa League that we won. Vaclik got injured just before that took place, and we had to put Bono in, our second choice keeper, and he played the games of his life. Our semi-final against Manchester United, in the first 15 minutes in the second half, I think United must have had about 20 shots on target. And Bono kept every single one out. He was good in the final and then really never looked back. So we kind of really surprised Sevilla fans with, wow, what's happened here? He's played to a really high level. Then he earned the right to be the first choice keeper and went from strength to strength. It's a really interesting story because before that, he didn't really show a whole lot. There was a reason why he was the second choice keeper. And now, in my opinion, and the stats would back it up, he is one of the best keepers in the world. Doesn't have the reputation to back it up, but in terms of shot stopping, you'd have to look hard to find a better one than him.
What's the I mean, listen, we all know that you're in, I think they call it the hottest city in Europe. I know we're in March though, and I know it's not as warm as it used to be, as it normally is in the summer, etc. Taking weather into account, taking COVID stipulations. I mean, I know that the fans have to wear face masks. Can the stadium be full tomorrow? Does any of that sort of stuff impact how Sevilla will play, and could that have an effect on the kind of opposition coming from abroad, where we're pretty much opened up where we are in the UK?
I don't see it being a problem. I think if anything, it'll be a bonus for the players because actually in La Liga we were playing with 85% capped capacity. So I think the players will relish the opportunity to have the full stadium because as far as I understand, it's 100% capacity allowed in Europe. So no, I don't see anything like that being a problem in terms of the rule with masks having to be worn. The fans still... the Sevilla support is simply outstanding. Any West Ham fans going to the game tomorrow, you're in for an absolute treat whenever you see or hear our anthem, just how the Sevilla fans keep the game going, keep the team going. It's quite a different atmosphere to England. In terms of how something could have, in terms of effects to West Ham, you mentioned about the weather. Actually, this week is a little bit chilly for March. We're talking about we're talking about 18, 19 degrees. So
my heart
I don't think weather will be a factor. Perhaps if we played this match
amazing,
in August.
That's the height of summer in Scotland, where Anthony is.
Yeah, sounds roasting.
Perhaps if we were playing this match in August and it was 45 degrees, then we could. Yeah. Maybe your Craig Dawsons wouldn't be used to that. But no,
I don't. Sunscreen.
I don't think any external factors in terms of COVID or weather will affect the match, in my opinion.
Good.
So, it's been honestly the insight that you give as a kind of opposition fan, someone who's working with the club. Honestly, it gives us so much more knowledge and what to expect for the game tomorrow night, rather than myself and Russ sitting here trying our best to give the fan base as much information as we can. We can do a lot of due diligence ourselves, but you watch the club obviously week in and week out, and it really gives us a nice insight into what to expect tomorrow. But with that in mind, I want you to give your pure and utter honest prediction of what you think.
He can't do it. He works in the club. It's like me. He's like I've got to say West Ham are going to win. Otherwise I don't believe it. I get shouted at. Right, go on in, Daniel.
Well, I think if you're a betting man, you always have to bet on a 1-0 Sevilla win. It's the result that, as I mentioned earlier, we love. I think in La Liga we've got about 38 goals scored. I'm not sure how many games have been played, but maybe it's about, is it mid-20s so far in the season?
Like that, I'd imagine, yeah.
So it's not even 2 goals a game, but in terms of goals conceded, I think we've conceded 18. So, fewer than a goal a game. So 1-0, that's kind of the reputation that Lopetegui has built for himself at the club. He's a results-based manager, and we keep the defence very strong. We work a good 4 or 5 chances per game that one of them will end up in the back of the net, and that's usually what happens. And that's what's got us second in the league.
I think what this game, from talking to yourself as well, Daniel, has really taught me is the fact that a team that shuts up shop, doesn't concede a lot, doesn't score a lot, versus a team that concedes a lot and scores a lot. It's got a potential to have
something's got to go.
It'll be interesting because obviously I've been speaking about Sevilla being a defensive team. I don't mean defensive in the terms that we'll sit back, not have the ball. It's completely the opposite. We defend through the ball. We could very easily end the game with 60, 70%. It's, I don't know, maybe for a reference of for an English fan, perhaps maybe how Maurizio Sarri was at Chelsea, how Van Gaal was at United. Perhaps I don't want to say dull possession game, but it's a game where controlling the ball, controlling the possession is the way to, I guess if the opponent doesn't have the ball, they can't score, and that's Lopetegui's mantra.
Yeah, and to be honest, I hope that's for me. That's how usually West Ham tend to get results. Now, I'm not using the Sevilla thing, but usually when we win games, it's because the opposition have had 60% possession. Usually when we have 60% possession in a game, we never win the game. Never win because we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do when we're on the front foot. We're better on the back foot, and that's where Moyes seems to have worked that out. But listen, Daniel, Russ, I don't know if you've got any more questions for Daniel.
No, I've had enough of Daniel's. Yeah, over half an hour, Daniel. He said 15 minutes. No, it's been brilliant. It's been
pleasure.
So interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And hope you enjoy the game tomorrow, but not too much.
Yeah, not too much.
Hopefully in that social media, there's not too many it's more like 01, 02, 03, get typing Antonio several times. Are you, more importantly, will you be at London Stadium for the next game?
Unfortunately not. No, I'll not be travelling with the team. Another one of my colleagues, he'll be covering the English side of things from London, and then we'll have a few other club media members over there. No, unfortunately, I'll not be in London.
No worries.
Well, listen, Daniel, mate, thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe, and like I said, all the best after not just tomorrow's game, but next Thursday's game for the rest of the season. And I hope you win La Liga and not the Europa League.
You can concentrate on La Liga. That's what we do. You and Real Madrid. Yeah. Cheers, mate. I will kick you out. Don't worry, man. Cheers, Daniel.
Thank you very much for having me on. See you guys.
Man. Cheers, Daniel. Pleasure. Take care, mate. Bye-bye. Loved it. Quality.
Love it. Honestly, it's like when you get these guys on, man, it gives so much more. I mean, we had Mikey in the chat, we had the guys from Rapid Vienna, it just gives you so much more insight than what we could just Google. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true though, because you can get a lot of information from looking online, but when you see, stats sometimes do change people's opinions on certain things.
Totally.
And he said that, we could look at that and go, well, they only scored a goal a game. Yeah, they are second, but they only scored a goal a game. So that's where West Ham can get at them. But he's kind of saying, well, no, we completely control the game. We completely control the game, and we attack from the defense and all things like that. So it's massively. It's definitely exciting. So we got on to a little bit of the press conference, what David Moyes had to say.
Yes, because it was later tonight. It was later because usually it's in the afternoon usually these games, but because obviously the team didn't fly out and he got into late this afternoon. The press conference was this evening, wasn't it, mate?
Absolutely, it certainly was. Well, it's time. It's time. It's first and foremost though. It's time to talk West Ham, Russ. Now, listen, we're going to go over and have a look and see what the gaffer had to say. Now, there is a lot of what the gaffer had to say. So there's going to be certain segments I'm going to kind of gloss over, but we'll stop at the points that we feel like we need to. So it wasn't just him that was in attendance. It was him and none other than Pablo Fornals. So let's go and have a look and see what the gaffer had to say. So first and foremost, he spoke about team news and he was asked about Declan Rice. Of course, we knew that Declan Rice had picked up a virus as of late. So he said he trained today. He's been really unwell with illness. He's with us. If Declan's fit and available, then certainly he'll play. It's difficult because we have injuries also. We've had Angelo Ogbonna, who's been out for a long time. We've got Jared Bowen out for this game, who's been in great form for us within the last month or two. He then goes on and talks about Sevilla's potential team news as well. He says that they have a really strong squad of players, so we're going to have to play well, but hopefully we'll push them hard as well. Jared's got a bit of an X factor, which you need up front. He's been in really good form, and in the last 2 or 3 months, it won't change us a great deal, but certainly we'll be missing an important player. Now, going on to the fact that Jared Bowen will be missing for this game, it is a huge loss because he's been such a pivotal part, not just to our season, but to the Europa League, Russ, isn't it?
Oh, he's been I mean, we did a show the other day about it in terms of what he brings. You know, he's our, in essence our top goal scorer and our top assister really this season. So he's I think he's something like 20. He's played, was it 38 games or something like that, and 23 goal contributions they call it, which just shows you how vital he has been. But in the same way as what we said to Daniel, players can step up now. There's we'll talk about the team later on, but who we think going to play. But whoever we put in that right-sided role will have to step up, innit? Their time to shine.
Yeah, 100%. The news on, of course, Declan Rice. I mean, he's travelled with the squad today. He's been again another player who's been pivotal and a really important part of the squad, especially in Europe. He wants to play every single game, and that's what I love about Declan Rice. He's been suffering with a virus, but he is there, and he looks like he's in all spirits. I've seen him. We've seen the videos of him training today. He's running around the squad. He doesn't look like he's doing anything different to them. A virus can take something out of you, so it just is how he recovers. And I don't doubt for a second, Russ, if he is fit at all, he will be playing in that game.
Without a doubt. If he's 70-80% fit, he'll be playing.
Yeah,
no doubt.
100%. We're putting 50-50 there because we just don't know if he will or will not play.
Although saying that, Jack's out there and he told Deck that he was going to lump 100 quid on him to score, and Deck said good bet rather than don't pick me. Don't put the money on me. I'm not going to play.
That's the thing though, Russ. Like I actually, I would, even if he plays like 50, 60 minutes, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like you're still going to get 50, 60 minutes of top notch performance from a big player like Declan Rice. So we'll move on then to the next part, which says creating chances. And he says in the last 2 games, including Southampton in the Cup, we felt that if we had finishing, we'd have been through and would have taken something from Anfield, but we missed those chances. Our goal scoring record in the Premier League has been pretty good. I think there have been some good signs from Mickey Antonio in recent games, and he's on his way back. He's so important to how the team plays. So good performing Antonio makes us play better. We need those goals because the last 2 games we could have got more out of them. And I completely agree with everything he says there, because it's true. Because literally, if you think about the Southampton game in the first half in particular, the amount of chances, and at Liverpool with the amount of chances we created, and we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But the 2 performances, apart from the fact that we lost the game 3-1, removing the goals that were conceded against us at Southampton, if we had someone that could put that ball in the back of the net and other positions, it does fill you with a little bit more confidence after the kind of but lack of vavoom over the last couple of months.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's something which most of this season, we haven't. We've had a lot of chances where we could have put the ball in the back of the net, and for the first half of the season we were not conceding as many. So although we missed 3, we scored 1, and that was enough to win the game. Now we're conceding a little bit more. We have been that we're still creating chances. I mean, this team always has a goal in it. I can't. Was it? There was something. We had a ridiculous stat, wasn't it, in terms of scoring in games
the whole team?
Yeah.
I thought we've got the stat. We've got the stat which is like scoring a goal in every single home game. But I think there's like a stat which reads like when you start to look down the list of players that have scored in our team, it's Jared Bowen, it's Antonio, Ben Rama, all with kind of reasonable high single numbers. And then it starts to drop. But you've got 3-4, 3-4, 3-4, like all the way through the team, and it's good because goals come throughout the team, and that's what's going to make potentially the game exciting tomorrow. The next part he went on and spoke about was the progression of the club and becoming regulars in Europe. And he says, overall, I think us being here in the early part of March, bringing over 10,000 supporters into Europe.
Not Anton though. But, sorry,
9,999 supporters.
99,
It's your,
98, because
yeah.
I haven't got no holiday left. So
It's a big thrill. It's much better than taking the same number to a third or fourth bottom team in the Premier League. We're really driven to get through the. It's so true. It is. Oh my god, I feel sick. It really driven to get through and challenge, but we're also realistic, and we know we've started on a long journey, and we're on the first little bit of it. We've still got a long way to go to say that. We're hanging on a little bit in different areas. We accept all the people talking about the squad not being enough. We've tried to explain ourselves about it, and I think we've got ourselves in a really good position, and I do as well, mate. March the 9th, last 16 Europa League. I've seen comments several times over the last couple of months saying that our season could be done by the end of next week. Well, no, I don't agree. We're still there or thereabouts, and we can definitely challenge it. And the league's got plenty to offer. The Europa League's got plenty to offer. Let's just see what we're saying tomorrow in the first leg. It'll be so good if we could get something from the first leg and go home to a sold out London stadium and take the game to them with the crowd on our backs as well.
Definitely. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Totally.
He then goes on and speaks about the difficulty of the draw. He said, I considered Sevilla as probably the favourites, Barcelona as well, possibly. So I knew the draw was very hard, and more than likely there were several Spanish teams in it, and we draw one. We were ready for it. It's a game where I know the manager a little, and I know the success Sevilla have in the competition. It's incredible success over the period. The level of difficulty we know is high, but also we're new, and maybe that helps us. Maybe we go into the game with no baggage, playing with some freedom, and hopefully we can do that in the two games. He then goes on and talks about the fans, and we have to give the fans a mention, and I wish I was one, but I'm not. They make me smile because when you come into the job, you want to be able to play in Europe, and it gets you into the elite clubs. The effort we put in last year is why we're in this position, and we're hoping for the best teams challenging them and seeing how we do. It's the first time we've been in this for so long, and we're trying to keep a European position in the Premier League. This competition would do so much. To get into the next round again would be great achievement. We have tomorrow night and next week to try and achieve that, and of course, that's him on the basis of the fact that 10,000 fans are expected to travel over to Seville for the game. Which
there's only like 4,000 tickets. How's that going to work?
You know how it's all going to work, mate. Well, I knew it was going to work. So anyway, we'll talk about that. He was joined by Pablo Fornals, and Fornals, as we all know in the press conferences, a player always turns up. I think we've had Mark Noble, we've had Declan Rice, we've had Vlasic, we've had I can't remember if it was the keeper. Was it? No, wait, was it Fabianski or Areola? No, there's someone else. I can't remember who it was. And then Pablo.
I think so.
Yes, it was Sufal. And then Fornals. So he was asked on returning to Spain and then Sevilla's credentials in Europa. He said it's a really nice place to come back and to show our level as well against one of the best teams in this competition. It's a massive motivation, show how good we are. They won the Europa League 6 times in 10 years, but it's going to be the first time for us playing since 40 years ago. I think the motivation we have to be here, and all the lads since we knew who we were going to play against, is massive. The motivation can be paid with trophies. I can only keep saying this. Now, I think the key element for bringing Pablo Fornals into this is he's become, I don't know what his name is. Like he's like a, you know how I'm a Jockney. He's like a, I don't know, a Spanish Orkney. I can't say it. Like
I mean, it's
He has. We do need to come up with a name for him because he really has.
I was going
to
call him
embraced the club, mate. He's embraced the club.
He's got it, innit? He's got it, and it's like there's a few. You can think of certain players in history, in modern history, who have got it, who have got what it's like to be, what it is to be a West Ham fan, and they have this association with the club, and like he's definitely one of them. You know, the same that James Collins was, and to some and obviously Paolo, and there's certain players who are not necessarily from around these parts, out of towners, but they get the club, and Fornals epitomises West Ham.
He absolutely does, mate, and I love the fact it's not just about social media and stuff like that. It's about believing in, when you see him. What I love about this West Ham squad in particular is the togetherness. You can see it because normally you would have had like Fornals bunching up with his mates who only spoke in the same language. And then you maybe have the English players or all the British players hanging about together. But this team, you see Fornals going out for cycles with Antonio on a regular occasion, and they're all mixing heavily, which I absolutely bloody love from these guys. And Pablo, brings that bit of flair to the East End, and it's absolutely brilliant. But let me go on and talk about what he said about Fornal spoke about Rice and also his role within the team. And do you know what? Before we move on that, the question I asked and the challenge I ask everyone in the chat is: give me a name for Pablo Fornals that brings in the Spanish and Cockney element.
Cocknish.
Cocknish.
We got Spockney. It's a Spockney. Or Spackney. Should be a Spackney, really, because it's Spain.
Yeah. Well, let's leave it. Let's see what they come up with.
So he says it's been answered already.
Yeah, absolutely. He says, since I arrived here, I think for our club, Declan Rice is one of the standouts of this team. Also, Nobes, Mish, having all of them here, I think is massive for us. I've been playing wing back, and from that position, I created good chances for the team. So for me, I always say the same. I want to play and try and work really hard because I want to be on the pitch each game day. And do you know what? I've said this for such a long time, and I've seen recently, before he was moved into this position, that he was probably getting a bit of a harsh time sometimes in specific games. But for me, he's become a fan favourite and one of my kind of favourite West Ham players. And to go into that wing back role and be really like creative, but also because he's the workhorse, because he gets stuck in, because he challenges and he doesn't let anyone really try and get by him. He tracks back for the team. He moves forward for the team. He's got the engine. He's really kind of grown into that position over the last two games, hasn't he?
He has. He's considering. As you said, we bought him as a 10. We bought him as a 10, really.
That's right.
From Villarreal, and obviously Pellegrini bought him really in Huselos, and Moyes converted him into his box-to-box midfielder, and he had when he didn't play, his energy, you could tell the team just didn't tick, and then to come in and play how he's played, playing sort of this sort of left wing back position, he's given it his all, and you can see it does work. It works, but it works because he's making it work, because he's got the, he's where we've had people before who you put round holes in square pegs or whatever it is, and they haven't quite worked. He has the adaptability to make it work. He's done it once already, so he's moved it back. Hi, Happy. She's still in the car. She's not driving home until we finish.
Yeah,
so let's do an all-nighter. But yeah, so I just think it's brilliant. And again, he just epitomises this modern West Ham, this team. But yeah, Anton's fine. Don't worry.
I'm fine. Yeah,
it's all right.
Right, the last one. There was loads more, but I just tried my best to bring as much as I could quickly. Fornals on big teams in the European journey so far. He said, I think the gaffer has created a group of lads with a desire to win and to improve, every one of us. This is the main thing, and what we try to do when we play against bigger and better teams than us is to try and play as a group, as a family, one for each other. This is not just tomorrow's game. We have to play the second leg at home. It's not a 90-minute game. It's 180 minutes, so we have to be clever and think about that as well.
Totally, and that's the thing. It's not where where we've been in the league and respect the point. It's not about that. It's about getting the result after two legs, and it's only tomorrow's game is only halfway. It's only half time really, and we want to still be in the game. We want to still be in the tie by the time because that 12th man at London Stadium next week. He's going to be there, or she's going to be there. They're going to turn up. So, we want to give something for them to shout about, and we want to get them people pumping. So, he's totally right. And I mean, again, we've never been in this position, so to speak, in Europe, and we've never. I mean, most times, was it the first time ever we've been in the knockout stages of the Europa League? And so, and Moyes, what Moyes said, we've got less baggage, and.
We've got nada to lose, mate.
We've got nada indeed. We've got nada to lose, and so, and we're saying, I know we jokingly said it about, but with Man City, obviously they basically, it was the Man City Cup and the Carabao Cup, and we took them we knocked them out, so why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Quick question I want to answer for NWO. They don't count, mate. They don't count. So. There you go. Away goals. If anyone is wanting to know, away goals do not count for the Europa League, and I think the Champions League as well. If I'm right in saying that.
Yes, at the moment, although Real Madrid were technically out, they're not because they've just had a massive comeback, and it looks like they're just about to knock out Paris Saint-Germain.
Love it. Right,
And they have knocked out Paris Saint
They have
Germain.
knocked out Paris
Yeah.
Saint-Germain as well. Yeah, mentioning Madrid also makes me cry. Anyway, so if you are watching, it's myself and Russ are going to try and build our team and our formation about who West Ham are going to put out tomorrow. So if you are watching, I want you to start putting in your starting 11 for the game tomorrow, but try and build it up a little bit for us as well. So talk about the goalkeepers, talk about the defenders, talk about the midfielders, talk about who's playing up front. If we're playing up front, if we're playing a false nine, tell us about your formation choices. So if you are in the chat, start putting it in the chat and we'll go through it. And myself and Russ will start building our starting 11. Bowen. Bowen, sorry, I've just put a comment in the chat and I've made a big boo-boo. Bowen has not travelled. Happy Amaret. She's asked, can we have an update on Bowen and Rice? We have done it earlier on, but I'll just quickly say to you, Bowen has not travelled, so that was a mistake. I apologise. He has not travelled and he's injured. And Rice is about 50-50. He's travelled with the squad. He has trained with the squad. Sorry, Happy. Sorry, my bad.
We said Rice is 50-50, although to be honest, I think that's pretty wrong, about sort of 70-30 to be honest.
Yeah.
70-30 to be honest, but
yeah.
Well, we might have some correspondence.
I think we've got. Yeah, we do. Are we coming off? Are we going to?
Yeah, let's bring him on. Let's see how it.
So we actually are we going to go live to Seville?
Yeah, just to put the knife in Anton's back a little bit more and twist it.
Here we go. Let's bring them on.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hola. ¿Qué tal?
Are we there? Everyone can see and hear us now, can they?
Hola. Sí,
It's just
sí.
so noisy. Sorry, it's really, really noisy here in the square because there are these Real Madrid fans who've gone bananas when they've scored. When Benzema scored the hat trick against. Slowly we're thinking, what's the row over there? Surely these aren't real Betis depressed fans who've obviously been overcome by Eintracht Frankfurt just down the road. But no, not at all. It's in the same way as Manchester United fans all live in Surrey, it would appear that Real Madrid fans all live in Seville. So I don't know quite why that is, but yes, very exciting. Can we hear? I can't because it's so noisy here. We can't hear you, so I'm apologising. That you want a little bit about the excitement in the city here. It's just utterly heaving with Hammers fans and excitement and. The big concern is Rice going to play tomorrow? And he's show us around you, right? Okay, let me just stand up and give you the. I'll take it. Can I just take it?
Take John's phone.
I've got to say, John hasn't paid the bill yet, so I can't. If I leave the table and someone comes after me in the background wielding a club, you'll know what that is. So, let me show. This is my clever way of getting John to pay the bill. But I'm going to take you down here now. If I don't get killed crossing the road, I will show you all these fans. Right, let me just say. I might even be able to go and talk to one or two of them. This is ludicrous. This should happen. It's your fault, Russ. You should never have agreed to let us on the programme. Let me just show you. I'll see if I can show you. There they are.
This is like Annika Rice.
This is all the fans behind me. Can you see?
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Love it.
Can't. Unfortunately, I'm looking for some West Ham scars. Hang on. Let's just have a look.
Just shout out Irons and see if anyone responds.
We're in a place called Hercules Square. This is. I can show you behind. Again, I don't want you to see my last minute on this earth live as I go flying in the air, having been hit by one of these trams coming down here. But you can see these two great posts. Can you see the great posts?
Yeah.
That's in the middle of Hercules Square, we're probably, I don't know, about 7 minutes from the ground, but we're just sort of sucking it up. And I've got to say that we went and got the tickets early, and there's just such an atmosphere in this place. But it was great at Genk, but of course we're still surrounded by the COVID and all that. Whereas now, I've got to tell you that you go anywhere near someone selling anything, it's like, you'll put your mask on, mask, because they're still a little bit, maskified. Yeah, well, you'd expect that. Anyway, listen, that's my bit. Listen to John, because John's also got he's got a tale to tell.
Hi, John.
Hi, Russ. Hi, guys.
Hello, John.
Oh,
hello, John. Hello, John.
Hey, Anton. Good to see you.
How you doing, John? You all right? You enjoying your time, John?
You having fun?
Right, you're on maximum volume now.
You having fun, John?
We're having fun. Yeah, staying dry. It's nice and warm. It's mild. You can hear a few East End accents around the place as we turn around the corners. We've seen a few flags on the main square behind the cathedral, Hammers flags.
Brilliant.
And yes, a nice feel good factor. And as Russ was saying, just behind us there's the Madrid game, which is just finishing off now. Big shouts and cheers. But this is, it's a fancy little square. And here we are, 11 o'clock at night, and people are just starting to eat now. They're just bringing out pizzas here, and they eat so late out here. No, come on now. No hot chocolate, but they've got cocoa. I mean, we're Brits, so we're heading off back to the hotel very soon.
John and Martin, then, how are you both feeling about the game tomorrow? Give us your brief thoughts on the game tomorrow.
Well, again, it's down to, is Declan going to be there and so on. We saw him, he was out on the pitch before with the squad. There were some shots from the official website.
Yeah.
But they've got to be up for it, really. I mean, you can see who's left in it. We've done well so far. We're strong. And I think from what we heard from the Seville manager today, he was very, very complimentary about our team and the players we've got.
Mentioning Bowen.
Yes, we heard him mention at least 3 times that Bowen's not playing. But hopefully we've got enough to find a plan B anyway. It's going to be interesting to see the formation, but it's going to be a good time for Ben Rama to step up. Looking forward to see Fornals, playing in his home country. Yeah, and of course Lanzini. Yes, he's somebody who can turn this game for if he's selected. So it's going to be a great build-up tomorrow.
Speakers in the West Ham side. That's the key, isn't it? The Spanish thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can hear. Yeah, you'll be able to hear the Spanish. Yeah, exactly. Spanish.
Yeah.
The Spanish speaking. Tactics or whatever at free kicks and corners, and Fornals being there is useful. And Lanzini, as you said, both of them know a bit of the old lingo. But what we're trying to find, John, we're trying to find, and Martin's good at this type of thing, is how, because like Anton's is a Jockney, but what can Fornals be? Because he's a Spanish and a Cockney. We need to find a name to describe what he is.
He's like from Star Trek. We'll call him a Spockney.
Spockney.
That's got to be it, hasn't it?
Love it.
Hasn't it?
Well, we've had what was the one we had earlier on? Russ?
I can't remember. We had Elbow.
El Cockney. I think it was just El Cockney.
I think so.
El
El Cockney. Yeah, it's not very great, is it? But yeah,
I quite liked it.
El Cockney. Yeah, but yeah, Spockney.
Do you fancy any of the food behind us? We just thought we'd bring the menu in.
Oh, what you got? Anything nice?
So like a little bit of tapas, please, if that's okay.
Yeah, a little bit about patatas bravas, por favor. Dos
calamari,
yeah, dos gran cerveza, por favor. And
it's an English suggestion.
That today's special.
We done that.
Thanks,
Martin and John, what's your predictions for the game tomorrow?
Predictions for the game tomorrow.
I'm going for a 1-1 for me. Don't ask me who's going to score, but I think it's going to be tight enough, and we're not going to be taking the cleaners. So 1-1, I'd be very happy with that.
I think we're going to win 3-2. I think it's going to be loads of goals. You can't stop them scoring at home. And after all, they've got this. Of course, they've won it 6 times or however many they've won it. They've got the chance to play the final in their own town. Yeah. I mean, Real Betis look like they've messed that chance up. But tonight, having lost to Eintracht Frankfurt, but only the first leg, of course, early on. But I got this 3-2. These numbers came in my head. But I'm telling you, I didn't feel confident about Southampton. And I knew Liverpool were going to one of those games where everything goes their way. We've had so much bad luck at Anfield in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But I feel that I actually feel we're going to get a result. I don't know what's going to happen at London Stadium, but I feel we're going to get a result tomorrow. And I don't forget they got players out. I know so have we. We got Bowen out, but go for, I think, 3-2. So we're saying 1-1 and 3-2. Yeah?
1-1. They've lost 2 league games all season. I don't know how they performed in the Spanish Cup or in the other Europas, but they haven't got a habit of losing. So I'd be happy with a draw. And then, of course, the atmosphere next week, it's going to be so electric.
What are you two saying?
Well, we're going to do our predictions in a bit, so don't worry about that.
Oh, okay. Well, we can hang about because us old men got to go back to the hotel.
You've got to go back to bed. You got to get your beauty sleep, Martin.
Listen, treat yourself to another pint of Estrella, and then you can go back and
little nightcap.
Little nightcap.
That's it. Good idea. Thanks.
That's a brilliant idea. Right. Thanks for letting us on.
Yeah.
And we hope you're all going to enjoy the game tomorrow. It's going to be such a fantastic game.
Yeah. Buenas noches, and we'll see you this time tomorrow.
Buenas noches. De nada.
All the best.
Gracias. Gracias, señor. Gracias.
Gracias tanto.
De nada. De nada. Oh, dear. Oh, I forgot I was quite good at Spanish. I forgot I spoke a lot of Spanish. Anyway, let's talk about the team now. Oh dear, I thought it was quite funny. I knew Martin was out there, and I knew John would be with John.
Yeah,
they weren't friends, right? They weren't friends.
You weren't friends until bloody. I know that. Yeah,
until my party.
Yeah, I know.
And I introduced them to one another, and they're like best friends forever and ever.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, lovely. But yes, right.
I mean,
okay.
listen. I'll be before we even do this. I'm going to show you the screen I've got on my. This is how predictable I am. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
I'm searching every single airport tomorrow. Seville. I'm typing in Glasgow, Edinburgh, you name it, Aberdeen. Like, I'm just trying to think, and it's mental, so it's just not happening. It's so frustrating.
Brilliant.
Anyway, I wouldn't be able to go anyway, so.
Yeah, but yeah, I know, but it's just yeah. But I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I'm happy for them. I mean, Mine ain't gonna be around for many more years, isn't it? So yeah.
Right, let's get on to the team. Sorry,
right.
we took a crazy deflection.
What's come on you irons in Spanish? It'll be Vamosieros. I reckon. Vamosieros. Anyway, there we go. That's just me, my Spanish. Right, okay, so who's starting?
Goalkeeper, because obviously the keeper for the Europa League predominantly has been our man Areola.
Has. But
for the first time, I think for one of the first times since we've been in Europa League, Fabianski's travelled with the squad.
Yep.
But for me, he's going to stay with consistency, and he has done throughout. Then it's got to be Areola, in my opinion.
I agree. I think he's a man of his morals, is Davy Moyes. And so yeah, no, I would say Areola in goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back three, back four. What are we thinking? Formation.
We've played all the Europa League with a back four. We've played most of the season with a back four, but we did have to change, and we're now coming up with not questionably, dramatically a better opposition. And as of late, if you think about how we played against Liverpool, and I know the Premier League is very different to the Europa League, but you need to treat these teams at the same level.
Yeah. Then
you probably need to go with. I don't know. I'm in so many minds about who he's going to play. But
typically, the last. Where's so? Look, this is. I know we're going from. No, they're not Bono. Good old Bono. Their last game, they played a 3. They played a 4-3-3. That's the formation they tend to play, albeit in slightly different. So as you said, Delaney's is suspended, so he will be playing. But I think pretty much that would be their team, bar Delaney, with a slight change there. So I think we're going to play back three. I really think we're going to play back three.
I do as well, and I think that. I think he's committed to it over the last couple of games. We've gradually got better. We came up against tough opposition in Liverpool. We've done well. We're unlucky not to get something from the game. Sevilla, you've got to put them in the same bracket, and I think that's how you challenge them. You've got, it means you can bring on, we'll come on to like the world of Fornals, but he does a lot of work for the team, but also he can defend and can be creative, and putting him out in that left wing really does offer us that option. So I'm going with the back three as well. And in the back three, I mean, I think it borderline chooses itself, doesn't it? I mean, we know Diop has been predominantly the Europa League defender, but it's such a big game. I think that Zuma, Dawson, and Creswell step into the slots for me.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I agree. I think it'll be them. I think it'll be the three that started against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Just because I think, as you said, I think Cresswell offers that, and by what Daniel was saying, going back to what Daniel was saying, he was talking about set plays, and they haven't got the recognised lump in Diego Carlos up front. They've in centre back rather, so it's going to be balls in. Where we've been shining across the year is the set plays. The set plays. So having Cresswell in there with his left foot. I think that's a bit of a no-brainer. I think it would be.
And when you look at those three, that's your predominant week in, week out three that we're seeing right now, which then potentially can question the goalkeeper again. You feel like you potentially could question. Yeah, I mean, and I can see the comments. There's such different views on different players. But if you were to, I mean, literally you're just switching the goalkeeper in there and putting Fabianski. But I've got the confidence in both, Russ. I saw enough in Areola to like him. I've saw plenty in Fabianski to like him. It's just whether or not he trusts one or the other in this big game. But if we're playing three at the back, then we're looking at the two wing backs. If we go to the left wing back, I think it would be silly not to play for now.
I think it picks itself, to be perfectly honest. I think
he's been fantastic there. He's a fantastic player for West Ham. Also, Spanish international. All that sort of stuff, everything adds to it as well. He'll be buzzing about being home and showing the players around his country and stuff like that, and letting them know about the culture and things like that. So he'll rise to the occasion, and he'll know what the fan base is like. He's played against the fan base several times as well. So definitely. And then people in the chat, look at that, Fabianski. Everyone's like, I'd go Fabianski. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Right wing back. I think you have to play Johnson, mate.
I think you have to play Johnson. I think, particularly with... They'll have Campos, left wing of the front three, or Martial, as you said, Martial's been playing left wing of the front three. So I think you would need that pace that you wouldn't have with Soufal. So I think it would be Johnson. It'd be great, incredible, experience for him as well. But
absolutely.
I think it's needed. I think you need him. You need him there.
But what I will say is, if it's him or Soufal, I'll be happy. Yeah. But I definitely am impressed with Johnson, and I'm delighted for how he's progressed as a player at West Ham, and I think he could hold that position. I really do think he could hold that position over Soufal for a while.
Without a doubt.
Midfielders.
Well, I think they'll both be in.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll both start. I think Rice and Souček will start.
Yeah, I think they'll both be playing.
If Rice has suffered a bad virus, it will be down to how long he can last. But at the end of the day, Rice said it from the start of the season. These are the games you want to play in. There's absolutely no way in his head he is not playing tomorrow, mate. It's Seville. At Seville, Declan Rice is going to play tomorrow.
Totally. I think, as I said to you earlier on, if he is 70%, he's playing. I think any less, and I think he would, but I think, I think I think also, the fact is the experience, the fans. If you're like 70% fit, you'll end up playing 80%, not 85% fit, just because you've got that extra adrenaline boost, and it'll be the biggest game he's ever played.
Yep.
Club game, maybe not for Sufal or Suchek, because they play Champions League and things like that. But for Declan Rice and a lot of this team, it'll be the biggest game they've ever played in terms of a club. So I think they're both, if they're both fit, they're both starting, no problem at all.
Yep. That leaves us with 3 players to put in the team. I know what I would do.
Yeah.
So I think for me, obviously we're not going to have Bowen in the team.
No.
I don't think you can't not play Antonio. I think you have to play Antonio, personally.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Oh yeah, I think he offers, and again, it's that the fact is we have to exploit the fact that they have not got their recognised centre back pairing, and as much as Jules Condé is a fantastic player, he's a brilliant player, and you can see why Chelsea want to spend a shitload of money with it for him. He's a very modern day defender, so he will not tackle in the same way that you watch Zuma. Now, if you watch Zuma, say Zuma and Dawson play as a 2, Dawson is the one tackling, Zuma is the one standing back, basically clearing up the shit, and that's what Condé does. So, and you've got someone also that, like in terms of Grugier, who's a defensive midfielder who'll be playing centre back tomorrow probably. He'll have never been up against someone like this, or maybe no, I don't know if they've played. No, they have. I don't think they've played Traore at Barcelona yet. But he's the only one in their league who's the equivalent of Antonio. So I would definitely. You look who. Also, I always look at who they've been playing. They've been training. El Nesri. All these guys. They're small. They're nimble strikers. They're not. He's never going to be trained anyone like Antonio. So he plays.
I think for the last 2 positions, there's only 3 players really to question in this.
Yes.
Vlasic, Benrahma, and Lanzini. Yeah. And it depends on what Moyes is looking for from this team. Benrahma's going to play. I think. He's been a Europa League player, and he has played well in the Europa League. What an occasion to step up against probably one of the biggest oppositions at the stage in front of the fan base. And I think he can rise to that occasion, mate, and I think he's going to sit in that team. And normally, if this was in the Premier League, I'd be saying Lanzini, absolutely, but I would want Lanzini sitting in the hole, but I don't know how Lanzini would perform by being that kind of floating player that Benny is going to do, and that's where I would question why maybe Vlasic would come in the team.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that positionally, I would have gone, and I've got to move everyone around a little bit, but positionally, I would have gone, I would go Lanzini, and then I'd go Vlasic on the right, like that, for a positional sense, in that he's an orthodox player, so he hasn't got necessarily that sort of creativity, moving around, floating that a Benrahma would have. And so I would, to be honest, I could see something like that happening, but as you said, it may be the case that maybe that he's out and, Benrahma, and they have this sort of, I don't know, they have like a, sort of something like that type thing where they sort of interchange as a 3 and
there's no ifs and buts about it though. The forward 3, like whoever is up there, if it's Vlasic, Benrahma, Lanzini, Antonio, they're all expected, and even when Bowen was there, they're all expected to kind of interchange. We see Antonio switching out to the left. It's just more the fact that because we play in this role, I think Lanzini prefers playing in the hole, and I think he's a much better player in the hole. And he sometimes sits a bit deeper. But either way, we're talking about just a couple of players there. I mean, that's a full-strength borderline West Ham side there. It's a side that I think can cause any team's problems if we're playing on a day. And I think the formation definitely will cause them problems. But the thing is, you can pull Fornals into the game from that left wing
Yeah,
position.
and that's what I mean. I think obviously naturally you miss the right wingness, the right side, with Bowen not being there, not drifting out onto the right hand side. But you're right. I mean, it means that Fornals is, because it'll be more even spread of the ball. It does tend to focus quite a lot on the right hand side because Bowen and Antonio likes to drift down to the right as well. So yeah, I think it's obviously it's not ideal without Bowen there, but hopefully it's only for a couple of games. And yeah, so I mean, as I said, I think knowing Moyes, I think maybe he'll just stick with Antonio up front on his own, and then play 2 out of the 3 of Ben Rama, Vlasic, or Lanzini starting. 2 of them will be, and they'll be having, as you said, this sort of 3-way thing where I don't think, and that could benefit us as well because the defenders don't know who the fuck they're picking up against. So it's. But I think he'll definitely play with the 3 at the back.
Yeah, I do agree. I think most of the team chooses itself, and maybe there's a couple of players that may swap. It could be Areola, Fabianski. It could be 1 or 2 of the following 3: Lanzini, Benrahma, and Vlasic. I mean, Masuaku's back in training. He could play Diop. I mean, it could drastically change. He could put Diop in there and play Cresswell left wing back.
I mean, you're right. Yeah, you could put Cresswell left wing back, and then it could be, Fornals can go into the more advanced role, and Lanzini and Fornals or whatever, I mean, I know, of course, Happy Emirates want to play, Lanzini any opportunity. I don't think he'll do anything experimental. I don't think he'll do I see Mandy a diamond. I think it's too late in the day.
This is just for you, Happy. This is just for you. There you go.
There we go. There you
go.
Just a few seconds. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much, as you said. I think bar that top 3, that'll be in that sort of midfield. What's it called? I don't even know what it's called. In terms of Lanzini, the position Lanzini, Benrahma, and Vlasic play, but it'd be 2 of them 3 there. No surprises. No surprises there. I think the surprises will be for the Aston Villa game, personally.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. So there you go. There's somewhat our predicted 11. And either way, though, Russ, it's going to make for an exciting night tomorrow night.
It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be brilliant.
Kickoff is
5:45.
5:45 UK time. So we're going to be doing a match day live. Make sure you do join us. But before we go, we need to do the old famous. We've got to go in the chat and you've got to put your predictions in. What do you think your score predictions will be for the game? West Ham travel to Seville tomorrow to play Sevilla in the round of 16, first leg. Get your predictions in the chat right now. Rossi B. WESTHAM Europa League knockout stages, Sevilla in their home stadium, full stadium, 10,000 West Ham fans. What is your predictions, mate?
1-0.
I would take that. It's an easy one to say in it. You take that now and
you take it.
I think you would take stadium.
You take any, because obviously it's no away
any
goals
positive
rule.
Result. Yeah.
Any positive result. I'd even take it if it's like an odd goal we've lost by, in all honesty, because I think London Stadium on that Thursday, we're going to have the fireworks, we're going to have all that, and that's going to get you a goal.
Yeah. Just
because of the atmosphere, and I mean, Seville Stadium is beautiful, massive stadium, only 43,000, It's not 60,000. It's not 60,000 London Stadium. So it's But obviously, I think a draw. I think a draw is going to be a good result. Great result.
The bigger they come, the harder they fall. And I honestly do believe that the West Ham now, even the West Ham of old, but let alone now the West Ham that we are under David Moyes, playing at Europa League and rising to the occasion. I do think we can do something. I do agree with Martin. I do think we've got the capabilities to do something here tomorrow, and it's It's not knockout. It technically is knockout, but it's not. It's a game of two halves, really. Tomorrow's the first half, so 180 minutes. But I think the players are going to love it. I think they're going to be buzzing off it. I think they're going to get that buzz. And the thing, Russ, is they're going to get the taste for it. And then they don't want to lose that taste for playing in such big stage. And this is the biggest stage
as you said, and it's great, not just regardless of what happens over the next two games, but for the rest of the season. Because this is what we wanted. You know, we didn't get the glamour ties in the group stages. We got Zagreb, Genk, and Vienna, and actually, only fans could only go to one of them. You know, in terms of away games. So, you know, this is what we signed up for when we started this European journey. Is these games, and as you said, these guys, it's these games. You know, and like the Southampton game the other day. You wanted to play Liverpool. You wanted to play someone who you're gonna up your game, who you're gonna be up for it with, rather than the Burnley or some Burnley or someone like that. So, and this is the same here. The boys, although we lost on Saturday, the performance was good, and they're gonna be buzzing, buzzing to be there.
100%. I'm gonna go with a 2-1 West Ham win.
Oh,
well, just we can score goals. They don't concede goals, so they hold a lot of possession, and we don't, and that's what we prefer.
Yeah.
So get them on the counter. I do think we've got the creativity. I don't doubt for a second having Bowen not available is going to be a detriment to our team. But there's an opportunity there. And it's games like this that Benrahma can step up, Vlasic can step up if asked to. They're never going to play against a striker like Antonio again after they've played him twice over the next two games. So I think there's issues there. Craig Dawson, mate. I mean, again, like they've never really came up against a defender like him, and they all will know what the kind of ability that Zuma's got as well. Fornal's playing in this new position.
Well, I think if you like Zuma, Jules Condé is a full French international, so he would have played against Zuma, with Zuma in the team. So, but I mean Dawson, obviously the news came out. Was it today or yesterday? I think it's today that he's had he's been playing with like injections each game. He's been injured for most of this season, so he just and I think it's these type of games you need those type of players just to take full advantage of what they have in front of them. This. I mean, this is the biggest game in the last non-relegation game or anything. This is the most exciting game we've had for the last 2006 the FA Cup final since then.
Yep.
And so it's not like we lose, we go down, or we don't win this game, we don't get promoted in the Premier League like the 2012 Championship playoff. This is an exciting game. So this is our most exciting game since 2006 FA Cup final.
Say that again, mate. Mandy G saying, I hope 0-0. Happy Emirates says a Desmond. Andrew says a Desmond. Oz says 0-0. NWO says 3-1. Darius says 1-0. Sharky says 1-0. Lanzini scoring. WHU 58. A Desmond. JT is saying 2-1 West Ham, hopefully. Crossham says 2-1 Sevilla. See you tomorrow, boys and girls. Daniela, Black Country Hammer is saying 1-0 West Ham, penalty 85 minutes. Steve Kiley says 2-0 Desmond again. I'm saying a massive 3-1 to West Ham with Dawson, Rice and Soucek on the goal scoring record. Paul Evans 3-0 West Ham. Europe is easy. The Hazari 4-1. Mikey saying, I think we're conceding one really comes down to form and up front and the condition of our players. If we're walking away with the 1-0, I'd be happy. Born Swazler 1-0. Hello, Russ. Do you know Gascoigne's School in Barking?
No, I don't know, sorry, mate.
As long as it's close, I don't mind anything. Yeah. James Bong says 2-0 West Ham. Countdown, even a 1-0 loss isn't bad. We'll be far better at home. Draw will be exciting, but even a goal or loss means we're still in the fight. In fact, we no longer get smashed 5-0 by teams. Like City can give us a confidence when trying to take them back to ours. That's from Oz. Lovely to see so many people in the chat as well. Thank you very much for supporting us. 1-0 West Ham. Antonio will be fired up. They're not ready for him. Completely agree with you. Yep. If we win, I can see Soucek scoring. Stuart Case saying 1 each. Dawson hat-trick tomorrow, I'm telling you. He will head 3 goals in. Andrew, they are a class outfit. 1-0. Oh, I'm just reading some comments. People are saying hopefully there's not any trouble. Hopefully there's not. Kimbo 2-1 West Ham. Come on, you Irons. This is massive. Good evening, everyone from Kimbo. Good to see Adam Cook is saying
Kimbo.
1 each. 3-1 West Ham United. Martial injured. Robert Singleton. He's not though. Robert Singleton 2-0. Yep, he's in the squad. Gascoigne in the state.
Nope, still
don't
know
know it. WSU 58. They won't be able to handle Dawson from set pieces.
Totally.
2 goals from him. Set pieces is going to be massive for West Ham tomorrow.
It's huge.
Yeah. Evening, gents. Evening all. 1-1 from me tomorrow, but I'm concerned about Bowen's injury. Apparently, after 3 days, they still don't know what's wrong, despite numerous scans. Well, I think they have looked into the scan situation, and it doesn't seem to be severe. So I think that's the positive part we need to take from it. And that's really everyone's predictions as well. So, Russ, any thoughts?
No, I'm just excited. I'm really excited for the game. You know, this is what we signed up for when we got into Europe, and so you know it's great, and I think it's going to be a really exciting game. And I think the fact that Sevilla haven't got their, you know, in essence, recognised their first team out in terms of centre back, in terms of defensive midfield, Delaney being out. You know, I think it's a great opportunity, and as I said, it's only halfway. It's only half time, so you know, as long as we're still in it, you know, it's a different type of football that we've never really encountered, apart from the playoffs, really, in terms of semi-final 2 legs. So yeah, really excited now. Really excited for it.
Cool, excellent. Tomorrow, what time? Matchday live. What's the plan? Stan? What were you thinking? 5:45 kickoff.
Probably about 5 o'clock, 5:15, something like that. Yeah, I'd say.
If you are watching and you're new around here, hit the thumbs up. But the key part to what we're saying to you is hit the subscribe button. If you don't hit the subscribe button, you don't know when our show goes live. If you hit the subscribe button, you know when it goes live. But beside that, there's a little bell notification. If you hit that bell notification, that will notify you when our shows go live. So please do all that, and you'll get all as much of the information as you possibly can. Russ, I'll let you close it off if you want.
No, just to say thank you, everyone. It's been great. Obviously, we had Daniel on from Sevilla, media team from the club. Very unusual to get someone from a club here on the channel, but it's very good. Daniel was great. And we had Martin and John from our live correspondence in Seville. Oh dear, come on, believe exactly, Andrew. And also, we'd like to thank every one of you, as well as hitting that subscribe button and hitting the bell icon. There's another button there called join. If you want to become a channel member, hit the join button. We'll be doing some prize draws coming out soon for members, so you might want to get in early. Just as a little side note. And until next time, from myself and from Mr. Baker. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Irons. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Irons. I haven't got the thing on there, but anyway, we'll say good night to everyone. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.